Welcome back. If you just come over here, microphone. If you had just joined us for Hannah's stream previously, as promised, we are here with Sophie Elinor. I'm just going to bring you up right now, and I'm very happy that we get to do this because we tried to do it yesterday, but here we are, and everything's working. Welcome.
We did it.
We did it. We did it, everybody. I was just saying,
Yes.
it's very nice to see all these green lights and everything. There were some issues with YouTube. So if you tried to join us yesterday and you're wondering what happened, that's what happened. YouTube decided it didn't want to play with us. So we gave it its space. And now we're back, and we're going to have a good time. So I'm very excited.
We turned YouTube off and on again, and
Yeah.
now it's working.
Someone did. It probably was something like that. I was joking before that like the intern decided to update every like YouTube node at the same time. In time for our stream yesterday. But yeah, you have very graciously offered to do, because you prepared these two live streams, to do two live streams. We're going to do two live streams back to back.
Yeah, it's a double whammy today.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you so much. I'm going to change my bio immediately to just brave and kind.
Just type dork/brave/kind as quoted on Adobe Live. That's awesome.
I was thinking about it earlier, and global YouTube outage really feels like such an extreme excuse. Like it sounds made up, right? Like if you didn't want to do the stream, you could have just said so kind of thing.
Right.
Like you didn't have to fake a global YouTube outage.
Right. I just felt so vindicated because the process was, oh my God, I'm terrible at my job. What am I doing? I've been doing this for 7 years. There's something wrong. Like, to my poor wife, I'm like, get off the internet.
There's no room.
To blaming like the national broadband network, to blaming Telstra, to blaming, and then I was like, oh, okay, it was clearly a global, a YouTube thing that some people had. To waking up and seeing Forbes writing about it, I was like, I'm amazing at my job, vindicated.
Anyway, you absolutely are.
we digress. We've got a lot to cover over two streams. There will be a break in the streams just to stretch our legs. And maybe do some star jumps. But yeah, if you want to stick around, you're going to learn a lot of cool stuff about animation. So before we kick off, because this is the first time we've had you on this year, so maybe a bit of a refresh, who you are and what you do.
Sure. I am Sophie Elinor. As you said, I am brave and kind, and I am a type jock. I feel like I'm at kindergarten introducing myself to the class.
Just swaying.
Shuffling my feet, looking at my toes.
Yeah.
This is what I brought in for show and tell. This is my Instagram page. It's fine, I guess. I am a graphic designer. I specialize in lettering. I'm obsessed with anything related to lettering. And I do a lot of animation in a few different spaces. So sometimes it's digital, sometimes it's more like analog stop motion kind of things. Always it is quite colorful, often quite silly. That's the realm in which most of my work kind of lives and plays in. And yeah, as you said, today we're going to be doing a couple of different After Effects related animations. The first one, the first stream we're going to be doing is looping pattern animations, which is a little bit like, I've got a few kind of past examples of this type of thing. If you're very new to After Effects, it might kind of look and feel a little overwhelming, but I promise you these techniques are super duper simple, very beginner friendly. And when you start to layer them up, the impact is kind of more than the sum of its parts. Like this is, a wall of interesting kind of cogs moving and things, but there's really only like a few very basic techniques involved here. So that's the type of thing we'll be doing today.
This looks really cool. This looks like 3D mapping kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is this more complicated, or is this sort of using
No.
the same techniques?
No, same techniques. And we'll be doing a little bit of this kind of thing today. So I thought I'm gonna start in Illustrator just to show you how kind of bananas the file setup looks. Again, looks more complex than it actually is. Really all I have here is I've kind of just split every single piece onto different layers. That's kind of the first thing. It's boring, but it really is like the most important kind of fundamental thing to wrap your head around with any sort of animation in After Effects is just kind of getting your file sorted beforehand. Otherwise you can get a little bit lost once you get into After Effects. But basically, so we've got like each of my front pieces you can see are on separate layers here. And then each of these little individual pieces there are also on their own layers. You can see if I turn them off and on here. So the letter E, for example, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces, and then it's got these kind of pattern layers sitting on top of those.
Right.
And it'll become clear once we start animating why I've kind of gone beyond the edges of these shapes. I want a little bit of extra wiggle room here to be able to move the objects within this kind of green shape here.
It takes a little bit of forward thinking of what the outcome is going to be when you're like the early bits. You kind of like, how many bits do I want to move? And then if you want them to independently move or...
Absolutely, that's it. You can, like, if you miss something, you can go back and kind of add layers in. Like, that's also not too difficult to do, but just to kind of give you a good starting base, it's nice to kind of, do a little bit of forward planning and think, what am I going to be moving? If, for example, I want to move this piece separate to this piece, they need to be on 2 different layers. So just kind of thinking through how many moving parts you want to have. I don't think we'll probably get through this whole thing today because we've got a bajillion layers here, but we'll definitely get through a few different pieces. So that's kind of our file setup here. So shall we do the big scary jump into After Effects?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, we've lost half our viewers. No, this is aimed at beginners. I'm a massive amateur when it comes to After Effects, and so I'll be asking questions as we go through as well. For my graphic designer friends who are just like me, who kind of see the multiple windows and think, I don't know, I'm scared.
You can do it. You can do it. It's not that scary. So just file, import, and then I'm navigating to, that's my file here. I'm going to switch this, well, if it's on footage, make sure it's on composition because we definitely want to retain those layer sizes and create composition. So it's just going to have a little bit of thinking time, and it's going to pop it up over here in our project panel. When we double click on that though, it's bringing all of those lovely Illustrator layers into After Effects. The very first thing I'm going to do though is select them all and create shapes from vector layer. This just gives us a bunch more kind of properties to play with when we're doing any sort of keyframe animation. Again, we've got quite a few layers here, so that just takes a little second. And with all of those highlighted, I'm just going to move them to the top of my composition, and then we can delete all of these. Cool. Let's just check our composition settings while we're here. We probably want this set to 30 frames. It's good to have like a nice even number when you're doing this type of thing. Oh my gosh. After Effects is having a little moment just thinking about things here.
Hold my beer, Google.
Let me
crash live.
It's always a good time, isn't it? The rainbow spinning wheel of death. At least it's on theme. Goes with our artwork that we're doing here.
That's true. It's quite funny. So there's something to do with like a filter with like Zoom that we bring our guests in that you're in at the moment, where it doesn't show the cursor changing. So it won't show a spinning wheel of death. You see it. We don't see it. It's just one of those strange things that it's filtered out. Yeah. So
I sound like I'm seeing a ghost right now.
Yes. Yeah. Or you're just stalling. You're like, I don't have that much to show. Oh no, spinning wheel of death.
I was really banking on a global YouTube outage again, and unfortunately everything is working today.
Yeah, amazing.
Oh wow, I am still getting that spinning wheel of death. That's unfortunate. I wonder if I can cancel that.
Is it the lots of layers thing, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's I probably should have just kept it at 24. 30 was actually, probably didn't really need to change it to 30. I was trying to get too technical. What should we try and do here?
Give it
I
another
wonder,
minute or so.
oh, there we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, lovely. Just needed some thinking time. Gorgeous. Okay, let's not do that again. Okay, so it looks exactly the way it looked in Illustrator, except now we have our little timeline window down here. And if we sort of twirl into each of our layers, we have lots of different properties we can play with here. Before I even touch any of that though, I think we're going to do a bit more sort of boring file management stuff. Purely because we have quite a lot of layers here. And again, this will just make our lives a little bit easier. A lot of this I'm not going to be animating. I really only want to animate the patterns in this composition. So I'm going to go through and highlight all of the layers that have patterns. So I've got dots, I've got squares, anything with lines. This will all make sense momentarily. And I'm gonna change my little label color here. Maybe we'll make them pink, just so they're a little bit easier to stand out in our timeline window here. And the other kind of fun thing we can do is it actually makes it easy to select all the other layers too.
I was about to ask that question. Like, if you've labeled it, you've told it that it's kind of like a unofficial group kind of thing. Like, it's not group, but you're saying these are labeled for a reason, and it lets you select them all by
it does
color. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is super handy when you've got, what do we have, 59 separate layers here. That's a really, really handy thing to do. So kind of rewarding that little bit of organization as well. Nice. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do to try and make this a bit more manageable is to kind of mask all those patterns within their little respective shapes that we've created. So if we zoom in a little bit here, and for example, this E1 shape here, I've got my corresponding E1 lines, and I just want to tell it to only appear in that shape. Whenever you create a track matte, it automatically switches off the related layer. We actually want to switch it back on in this instance because we want to retain that background. But now we just kind of need to go through and do that for all of our little corresponding layers. So E3 lines will go to E3 outlines, and then we switch that back on. Is this kind of making sense so far?
Yeah.
We're following along.
To me, so now, also, by the way, chat, we are live. So if you want something clarified, please don't hesitate to throw it in chat, because we do want this to be accessible. And if you've got a question, then people watching the on demand will certainly have the same sort of question. So yeah, if you do have any questions as we're going along, something doesn't make any sense, we want something a bit more clarified, let us know. And sometimes with After Effects, like, you can't quite see the menu items because there's, there's a lot going on as well. So if you just want, what was that you clicked? Let us know.
You can kind of see this is feeling a little bit cleaner and a bit less overwhelming now that these are sitting within their little boxes that we've created for them. We don't need to touch A because it's already sort of where it needs to be. This is also where naming your files in a way that makes sense to you also comes in really handy. So like, I've got N3 lines, and I know it needs to go to N3 outlines, and then I switch it back on, and I know that I've got everything kind of sitting where it needs to be. So D1 lines goes to D1 outlines. It's really just a lot of masking at this point. And we're just doing it for all of those pink layers that we've created. Now the letter Y is a little bit different than the others. So I've got, this is going to be a little trickier to see, so I'll zoom in so you can kind of get a better picture here. This letter Y, I kind of want to treat how we looked at that letter Z example over here. I kind of want multiple sort of directions going at once. So there's a few more layers attached to this one. So this is I don't want these static lines to move, but I want these ones to move. However, they both need to be kind of masked within this shape here. And that's the really nice thing about track mats and these kind of layers here is you can assign multiple layers to the one track mat. So if I highlight both of those and I say we've got our lines and we've got our static lines, I want them both going to this layer, and now they're both kind of mapped there.
Right.
So yeah, it's a very handy thing. Oop, hang on, what have I done there? That's not right. Y3, we want Y2. And you can see here, it's creating by default an alpha mat. So it's essentially just picking up anything that has an alpha channel, anything with like opacity in that layer, and that's what it's masking it to, which is exactly what we need for this one. And we are nearly to the end of our enormous list of layers to mask.
It's like your housekeeping duties.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. It's not the most exciting thing, but
critical.
It definitely makes
like brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
Having a shower, putting on your clothes. Where are my keys?
I hate doing this, but I feel so much better when I do.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so a little bit of housekeeping, but we now have this much more soothing, much more calming, much less chaotic when we compare it to this. Well, what's going on there? Now we actually have everything organized, everything's nice and tidy, everything's sitting where it needs to be. And now we can actually do some animation, which is exciting.
Cool.
So there's a couple of different types of things that I want to happen here. I think with the lines, it would be cool for these to kind of travel sort of up and across, kind of like a conveyor belt kind of thing. And maybe these ones can travel in a separate direction, just because we've got them as different layers. So we might as well animate them slightly differently.
Nice.
These lines here maybe feel like they want to travel in more of a diagonal kind of direction. Mm-hmm. I feel like these dots just want to do a bit of a jiggle, you know? If they feel like a little bit of a jiggly kind of thing.
What's that song? My money don't jiggle jiggle. Falls, that one? Yeah. Whenever anyone says jiggle,
that's Louis Theroux thing.
It is Louis Theroux, yeah.
Love a bit of Louis Theroux. And the checks, I kind of just want them to alternate colors. Okay. So maybe we'll start with that because that's quite a simple thing. All we're doing is animating the color kind of flipping.
Right,
yep. And actually, before we do that, let's make use of these labels that we created. We're only animating the pink layers, right? We've established that. Those are all our pattern layers, but we've got an awful lot of these kind of purpley blue layers in between, and it's going to be a lot of scrolling to get to where we need to go. If I right-click on that sort of blue layer and do the select label group, it's going to highlight all of those blue layers. And if I click this little guy over here and shy those layers, nothing has changed yet, but it's just kind of assigned this property to all of those layers so that when I hit this guy over here, hide all layers for which the shy switch is set, it's now removing them from my timeline here. So I have a much tidier and much less kind of overwhelming amount of layers to work with here.
Right.
It hasn't removed anything, like they're still visually in the window, like they haven't completely hidden them. They've just removed the layer from my sort of timeline window here. And I can just switch this off if I want to reveal them again, if I need to get back into those layers. So
cool. Let
us start with the letter A.
The shy thing always, I can't help it, but it just always reminds me of Kilroy. Do you know this Kilroy story?
Kilroy? Tell me.
A lot of the I'm showing my 40-year-old white man love for World War II, but it's like a bit of graffiti that they would do that a lot of the Western soldiers would do. It looks exactly like that. It's like but it's got hands and it's kind of poking its head over the thing, and they would graffiti it whenever they like advanced or into different areas, and so that other soldiers would see it all the time. But it's like this really early form of like a tag kind of thing. It's really interesting. It's got an interesting history if anyone wants to look it up, and it's exactly that. It's like got a big nose and it's kind of like leaning over the top of like just a line. And every time I see someone do like shying away, I'm like, oh, it's Kilroy.
Wow. I wonder if the person who came up with that icon had that in mind.
I should look it up, shouldn't I? I really should. Yeah.
So what I've done here for the letter A, so this particular layer has got like 17 different squares in it, and each square has its own little kind of twirl down menu. We'll just start with one, and it's annoyingly this tiny little sliver here, so it's kind of hard to see, but this is the little guy here, if you can see that we're changing. I just wanted to go from green to purple, basically. And so you do that by dropping a little keyframe where this fill color property is. So I've locked it in at green, and then I went over here, I just scrubbed forward like a second in the timeline, and then I dropped the purple, and then just duplicated those keyframes here. Cool. Now, if you kind of watch that carefully, it's doing this like horrible muddy blending between the two colors. After Effects loves to interpolate between keyframes. That's like kind of what it's built to do. You know, you say, I want something to start here, drop a keyframe here, I want it to end up over here, and it'll do all the in-between frames. Usually that's what you want. In this particular instance, that is not what we want. We want it to go green and then like teleport and immediately be purple.
Right.
So we just highlight those keyframes, right click, and toggle them into hold keyframes. So now what that's going to do is it's just going to change the second it hits that keyframe, which is a lot cleaner for this particular animation that we're doing.
Right.
And now that I have those keyframes, can I do this? No, I cannot. We need to twirl down into here, and then I can kind of just paste on that fill layer.
Yeah.
Everywhere there's a fill, I'm just dropping those keyframes.
So when you paste a keyframe, you're copying the attributes at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay,
so you need to paste it onto the relevant property.
Yes.
Like you can't copy like a property transform onto a rotation property, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. It actually makes heaps of sense to me. And that's why you couldn't do just selecting the...
it had to be a bit more specific. Be a bit more specific about where it was going. So now we've got that happening. We also want to do kind of the reverse for this base layer that's underneath the A. So again, just kind of twirling down into the contents of that layer. Thankfully, we only have 3 layers this time instead of 17. So if we just go into our fill layer there, I'm going to paste the same ones, but I'm going to move them all back a second because I want them to alternate. And so now if we've just done this little piece here, now we've got the kind of reverse flipping happening. And again, copy those and whoop, twirl down into these 2 and paste. Ooh, rookie mistake. So wherever your player head is, that's where it's going to drop the keyframes. And my playhead was over here. It needs to be over here.
Oh, okay, cool. Yep, that makes sense.
Okay. So now we have a little checkerboard animation.
That's awesome. This, I was going to say before, but this reminds me a lot of the Sesame Street song. Do you remember the pinball? And it counted?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
6,
8,
7,
9,
8,
10.
9, 10,
Yeah.
11, 12.
I think it
Huge
was something about the
compliment.
grid and the colors and everything. Yeah.
That's so funny.
It's awesome.
Sesame Street, if you're watching, I am available for hire.
Yeah. Someone needs to bring back Art Attack, and I think you're the person.
Oh my
for
God, I would love that. Oh, Art Attack was so good.
It was so good.
Cool. Okay, we have animated one letter.
Yeah.
And very simple, only looking at one little color property here, even though, you know, we had a lot of sort of smaller pieces, the impact of it is quite, you know, it's compelling. It's interesting to look at. If you had a static illustration and that was the one little bit of sparkle movement in there, like that would really kind of add a layer of depth to the artwork. So yay, one letter down. I think next, let's have a little squiz at this letter E over here, because I think we can do something fun with that. So just going to close those layers back up again. And okay. So I think what we want to look at for these layers is the position. So we want to move the position of all of these lines. If I have these layers highlighted and I hit P, it brings up only the position keyframe, which is just nice for, you know, just keeps your timeline a little bit tidier. If you can't remember that, that's totally fine. You can just twirl down into the transform properties and it's sitting right there. But if you're doing a lot of this, it's handy to kind of get that little keyboard shortcut in your head. Let's say, kind of get this into a position. If I've got I'm looking at this top kind of line here. We'll zoom in a little closer so you can see it. Look at those pixels, delicious. I'm just gonna nudge this up until it's just kind of kissing the edge of that shape. And that's where I'm gonna drop a keyframe. And then I'm gonna jump forward in my timeline here. At the moment, I've got this running 6 seconds, but we can make this whatever we want. And I'm just gonna grab those lines and here we go, 1, 2. So we've moved 2 lines down. And again, just using the arrow keys on my keyboard to kind of nudge that into roughly the same position where we started. And if I play that from the end, if you don't notice a jump, then we've managed this loop pretty nicely. Sweet.
Nice.
I'm not seeing any jump there. I'm pretty happy with that. That's the nice thing about having like nice geometric lines to work with, is it's like quite easy to kind of get things lined up. Okay, beautiful. Now let's look at this top layer here. Because this side panel is pulling down, I think we want to go from right to left, I think, to kind of follow on from that movement. Yeah. So if we look at this now, so this is our next little section. Because we're moving in that direction, we kind of need to start a bit further over. And I can actually, again, just using my like keyboard arrows to nudge into position here. I'm kind of lining, what I'm looking at here is this particular end line. I want it to be exactly lined up with the start of this one. So I'll drop a keyframe there. Again, jump to the end, and we moved 2 lines, I think. So 1, 2. And again, having a look at this as our sort of guide line here, probably gone a bit far there. So let's just bring it back a smidge. And then let's see what that looks like. Cool. I'm not seeing a jump there, are you? It's looking pretty.
No jump.
All right, let's zoom out and see what that looks like. All right.
Perfect.
We've done it.
It's really cool. It's great to see how that worked, because when you shared that with me, it seemed like it would be far more complicated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things that, like, if you don't know the source, like when you did it step by step, it makes sense. But
yeah.
Just when you originally showed it, I was like, oh wow, that's super cool. I really love this. Like, it really has a really nice 3D effect. Like, it looks like it's wrapping around. It's super cool.
Yeah. And it feels like an easy trick shot too, right? Because it does have that total 3D effect, but we've done none of that. This is like all very, very 2D space stuff.
Yeah.
Let's make this middle row, I think, go in the opposite direction to the top. So we've got kind of like an overlap sort of motion happening there. So that's E3. And again, I'm just kind of looking for something that I can visually line this up against. So in this case, I'm going to look at the end here, and I'm going to get it just so it's sitting right on the edge. We'll drop a keyframe, jump to the end, and we'll go 1, 2. Just nudge that into position. And let's see what that's doing. Cool. All right. One more panel, and then our E is done. Which way do we want to go with this one? We want to go the opposite direction, don't we?
Yeah. Did you say conveyor belt before, I think?
Yeah. Okay, so then that needs to start a bit further over. Is that right? Yes. The nice thing about this too is if I wanted to, so like if we're looking at that middle panel, if I wanted to change the direction of that, all I would do is like flip these keyframes around. So put the start at the end and the end at the start.
Yeah. But you might need to change slightly. Would you have to change the end keyframes a little bit? Like, might be slightly off, or would it still be perfect?
No, it should be perfect.
Yeah,
because we haven't. Yeah, we haven't changed anything other than the location of the keyframes. Like the actual thing should be pretty seamless still.
Right.
Which is a really nice thing about After Effects. Like, there's a lot of like adjusting that can be done after the fact. If you decide you want to add in, you know, a bunch of other shapes or colors or whatever, it's really easy to apply the animations you've created to other objects.
Yeah. Yep.
Am I doing this wrong? No, that's right, isn't it? That's the direction we want to go. 2. Okay. I feel like it's a very very gentle, very mesmerizing kind of animation. The other thing that I'll say kind of at this point, normally whenever I'm doing anything in After Effects, it's all about the ease. And if you haven't used After Effects before, basically that's just, instead of having a very linear motion, you would, like your, whatever you're animating, usually starts slow, speeds up, and then slows down again. That's how things behave more in real life. You don't just go from nothing to
right
100%. Again, this is a bit of an unusual case in that respect. Because we're getting this to loop seamlessly, we're aiming for that very steady movement the whole way through, so that when it cuts to the beginning, you don't notice any change in the speed. So I'm not actually going to touch these keyframes at all here. I'm leaving them with no ease. They're just exactly as they come, because that's, you know, we want that very constant, steady motion for this particular animation.
Cool.
So we've done our E and our A. Let's have a little play. Let's make some dots jiggle, I reckon. That seems like the next thing to do. Not those dots though, because there's 7,000 of them. So maybe let's look at these ones instead. Okay. So if I twirl down into my contents menu here, you can see I've got 62 dots here, which feels like an awful lot. But again, like I was saying before, once we kind of create one bit of animation, we can copy and paste it onto everything else. So it might seem like a lot.
64 dots, that's 64 different layers in your Illustrator file and 64 different layers in After Effects, yeah?
Not This is all on one layer. So like
Right,
in my Illustrator file here, where is it? C dots. I've got this all on one layer,
Yeah.
but because these are all different shapes, when you bring it into After Effects, it does keep it in one layer. Like this is one single layer here. But when you sort of twirl down into the contents, you can, if you want to, access every single one of these dots separately, and they each have their own transform properties within the layer transform properties.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So it's getting a little bit complex on that sort of granular level, but we don't need to worry about that too much.
The spinning wheel of death as you imported everything is starting to make a little bit more sense.
Well, okay. They are vectors though. So
True,
in terms of like, they're pretty lightweight, but yes, there are a lot of them. So we can forgive the spinning wheel of death for a moment. The first circle is kind of not on screen there, so that's going to be difficult to look at. What can we see where there's a full one? Okay, here. I just want this to jiggle. I just want it to do a little bit of a jiggle. I could manually keyframe in some position keyframes. I could say like, start here and then kind of move over here, and then when you get to this point, come back. Ooh, not that. Kind of come back here. If I add those keyframes in, it's gonna do like a little bit of a wiggle, but we have how many? 62 of these circles, and I don't really want to do that for every single one.
Yeah.
However, if I hold Option and click on this little stopwatch next to the position property, that opens up this little expressions panel, which again feels like, for a beginner, expressions feel like scary and off-putting, and I still don't know a lot about different expressions, but what I do know is wiggle with two little brackets. This is like a single line piece of code that will do what I'm trying to do here. So the wiggle expression basically just does what it says on the box. And if we put in a couple of properties here, let's say 10 and 50, for example, it needs some numbers to tell it what to do. So wiggle is telling it, I want you to make this wiggle, but it's saying how much. So the first number is the frequency, is it? And the second number is the amount. So how many times per second do you want me to wiggle? And how far do you want me to wiggle, basically?
Amazing.
So if I say, I want you to wiggle 10 times per second, and I want you to go 50 pixels in that wiggle, let's see what that looks like. That is very overwhelming, and that's not what we want. Yeah, super erratic. So 10 is way too many. Let's maybe make that two times per second, and 50 is far too far. We're going to lose all of our dots here. We just want them to kind of, just a very small amount. Let's like maybe bring this down to 10 and see what that looks like. Okay, it's a little better. I think the speed is good, but I think the distance is still too far. Let's maybe make that 4. Okay, this is more what we're going for here. Just a nice little gentle, like there's a bit of motion, but it's not super full on kind of thing. Yeah, that's what we're aiming for. So as far as expressions go, that tiny little line of code there, if you're starting out, you can do it. It's literally one word and 2 numbers. And it might just take a bit of tweaking to kind of figure out, what those exact numbers are. That will change depending on how big your composition is, for example, and how extreme and exaggerated you want that motion to appear. For this particular instance, 2 and 4 is a good amount.
Nice. And this is the sort of thing as well, like you remember it because you've used it lots of times before.
Yeah.
You can Google it and say, hey, how do I make something wiggle? And there'll be a whole
Absolutely.
forum, and the top answer will be copy this and put it in and just see what it does. and then you can tweak the
Exactly.
variables, right? Like you don't have to understand, is my level of coding understanding where I used to like take someone's
Yeah.
code, put it into something and then publish and go, oh, okay. And then you can kind of just go in and tweak and things like that without really having to understand the ins and outs of coding or expressions and things.
And I'm so glad you said that, because if we have a close look at what's happening here, when we kind of get to the end of our little loop and it plays again, there's a jump. So if you notice, the motion is really smooth, and then when it gets to the end, there's like a bit of a glitch where it goes back to the beginning. It's really subtle because this is such a tiny little piece of, like it's such a small part of a bigger kind of whole. But this was me the other night going, okay, well, I know how to make something wiggle, but how do I make something loop and wiggle? Like, how do I, because what I'm telling the software to do is to be erratic, but I want you to be erratic in a way that where the start and the end point is the same kind of thing. Yeah. And that is a little bit more complex. However, I did what you just described, and I Googled how to make a looping wiggle. And of course, someone has written a lovely bit of code for that. Dan Ebbets is a name that comes up again and again when I'm looking for After Effects expressions. And I think he wrote this one as well. So as you say, do a little Google, find the snippet of code you need. When I copy and paste that, so just delete what I've got there and paste that into there. So what did we say? We wanted our frequency was 2 and our amplitude was 4. So that's our properties from before. We had wiggle brackets 2, 4. So that's what I'm plugging back in here. And then it even tells you, like it even puts this in layman terms, like seconds to loop. How long is your composition? At the moment, our composition is 6. So I'm going to make that 6. And then I don't touch anything. I don't touch anything else. And then I hit play. And now there is no little jump back to the beginning. There is just a perfect seamless loop. Thank you, Dan Ebbets, and whoever else helped with this code. But now we have this lovely little expression here that we can then copy and paste onto everything else.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So good. And once you get it right, yeah, exactly, you can copy and paste on everything else. It's just such a great thing that you can do with After Effects. Yeah.
And so now that we've got that, if I right-click, where am I? Right-click on our position for that layer, and I just want to copy expression only. And let's just paste it on those 3 and just check that that's working. Okay, beautiful. And then pop it on these other however many layers. And V. Okay. We might need a slightly higher render time because we've, After Effects is doing a fair bit for us at this point. But this is like a pretty cool effect for not actually keyframing any animation at all. Like that's just an expression. And, I can imagine this as like, I don't know, water droplets or like stars in the sky or bugs flying around a lamp or something, like there's a lot of ways you could use this particular expression. And maybe you don't need it to loop as well. Like maybe you just need that one little wiggle 2, 4 kind of thing. If your animation has a start and an end point and isn't trying to do this looped thing.
I feel like I've asked this question before.
Yeah.
And I still don't know the answer, so I was really paying attention. But does that mean, because they're all different, it's the same expression, but it kind of has that randomness in it. Does that mean it's different each time? Like if you kind of exported it and then you export it again. We have, right?
Yeah, I think it would be different every time.
It'd be different, right? Because they're all, it's like a random, it's kind of like an RNG thing. It's like a random number generator.
Yeah.
It's telling it to go, you do this, and it could be different each time or slightly different each time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, which is kind of a cool thing to think about. Each export would be unique in its own way.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I don't remember, because we were both like, yeah, maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
Just kind of trailed off there. Well, there's no way of knowing.
Yes.
We'll just live in this sweet bliss of assuming that there's some sort of whimsical thing happening there.
Yeah. Whenever we don't know what happened, it's magic. A wizard did it.
A wizard. It's always a wizard. All right, so we've got three pretty simple. I know we kind of got a little bit in the weeds and a bit technical with that
really
expanded expression there. But in terms of rolling it out across other stuff, that was super quick and pretty easy once you know where you've got to sort of place that expression. And now this half of the animation is looking pretty fun and engaging. I really want to get this Y kind of doing its thing, so I think it'll have that cool optical illusion. But let's see how much we can actually get done in the time we have left here. How are we traveling? We've got a few minutes still.
We've got a few minutes. We've got about 4 minutes, but
okay.
Yeah,
beautiful.
The next guest is a real pain, so we got to make sure that we're on time. She's a stickler.
Dealing with a diva. Awful.
It is, of course, you, but yeah.
I am my own warm-up act today.
we can see how we go. So for those watching who may have missed the start, we are going to do it's a double Sophie episode. So we're going to get to the end of this stream, and then it'll be a different topic. So yeah, please do stick around for that. I'll probably jump up and make a quick coffee, but otherwise we'll be back very, very quickly. So
that sounds great.
I think you're good.
Okay, beautiful. I'm just noticing here when I zoom in that my lines haven't quite lined up here, but because After Effects does this nice thing where it still retains those as separate layers, I'm just going to kind of nudge these couple down so we're getting that nice sharp corner. Yeah. And then I can hide those away. Ooh, hide those away again. Okay. So this is basically the same animation that we did on the letter, what do we do? E. Where we're moving the position of the lines within that mask. So a really simple thing, but I think because of the way these lines are curving, I think we're gonna get kind of a cool optical illusion here. So I'll lock that in there, and I want this to move up. 1, 2. And that was kind of finishing right on the edge. Let's just double check that loops.
You're moving up 3 because it's a 6-second full time, and 3 is divisible by 6. Is that why you're moving it up 3?
That's a beautiful reverse engineered explanation for something that was completely arbitrary. There was no maths.
Just trying to find sense. Just trying to find meaning in all decisions.
We live in a chaotic universe, Flynn. You gotta just accept that.
Amazing. Right. Kudos to you for not rolling with being like, of course.
Ah, yes. I see you understand art. No, that would have made sense. That would have been a beautiful explanation. Why not? Can we edit that? Can we edit out my response?
Yeah,
and
the
instead,
good thing about being live, you can totally just edit it as you're flying along.
Love
No
that.
problem.
Thank you. And then we're going, what did we say? 1, 2. Wait, no, I lost where I was up to. 1, 2. Okay. And I'm doing what I did with the letter E before. I'm kind of using this diagonal here as my visual guide to sort of line up against. We might not have quite hit it, but let's have a look. Oh, it's pretty smooth.
Yeah.
Just getting a little bit of a render thing there.
Yeah, but I think it's perfect.
I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And considering these lines in particular, if we look at these lines here, they're equally spaced. They're only moving in this direction. They're only moving on the x-axis, but it looks like they're getting kind of sucked up into that sort of vertical stroke of the Y as that goes, just because of those curved static lines.
Yep.
I'm really excited about that. I think that looks really cool.
It looks so cool. Yeah, it looks great.
Let's zoom out and have a
just bask in its glory.
It looks like we've done some sort of amazing 3D technical stuff here, but we've literally just moved some lines this way.
3D mapping that's like hyper detailed, but it's just frames and interpolated vectors. It's really cool. We should probably stop here for this.
Yeah.
For this one, we'll we'll call it an hour, not a day yet, because we are going to be back very shortly.
Yes,
this is so cool. This is great. I love this. It's such a great stream.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! So yes, as promised, we'll be back in 10 minutes, fresh, 20 star jumps each, and we'll be back, guys. So yeah, please stick around for that. And we'll be back very shortly with an entirely new topic with Sophie. There's the cliffhanger.
See you soon.
Okay, see you soon.